We are back. Another episode of The Q with Quincy Avery. We have a special guest, Trey Lance of the San Francisco 49ers on today. Trey, what is good?
What's good? What's good? What's good? Appreciate you having me, bro.
Oh, you appreciate me having you? No, I appreciate you getting on. I know you got a hectic schedule. We're not going to kill you. I did not know how many fans you had in San Francisco. I could tell
The
by looking
faithful,
at
man. I'm telling you about the faithful, man.
You did. You told me that the San Francisco 49ers were better than any fan, whatever you guys call each other in the country. So I'm
Without a doubt.
gonna take your word on that. But this show we chill, we vibing, not too serious. But I think that a lot of people know like the Trey Lance that we see on TV, whatever. What do you think is a thing that enough people don't know about Trey? Like, what is something that you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Oh man, tough question, but honestly, I think people think that I'm always out and around, out and about, but I'm really a homebody. I mean, I know you know that from draft prep and just being around, but I really enjoy spending time at home, having my friends, teammates, family over. Not a huge like go out to eat, go out for whatever. I really enjoy just kind of spending time alone and spending time with people close to me.
Yeah, you're probably one of. I mean, you're this. You're probably one of the nicest people. You're definitely the nicest quarterback that I've ever been around, and I'm around a lot of quarterbacks, so that says something. But yeah, you're in the house more than anybody else. So I think it's funny when people see something like you're out or whatever, and that is really few and far between. But I think it's interesting. You're also what 23, 24?
22, man. 22. I'm 2000, baby.
You're a baby.
Yeah.
But as we kind of move into football, when you look back at all the things that you went through in your life, right? Because I think that quarterback is a unique position because undoubtedly you're going to go through tough shit, right? And I think that right now you're in a moment where you're kind of going through something tough, injured, whatever. But like, what do you look back on and be like, all right, I went through this. Like, what was a defining moment for you? And we've been talking about desirable difficulties a lot, but like, what was that moment for you? Were like, I went through this. I know that I can make it through anything. Like anything that fucking happens, I'm good.
Yeah, honestly, just my mindset on the whole thing, not even having to go back to a specific experience, talking about this year going into this off season and this season, I could go back to, competing with Zed Nolan for a starting job. I guess that's the most probably comparable situation to this, but obviously it's on a whole nother scale now. But just for me, I always go back to just controlling what I can control, doing things the right way, treating people the right way. And obviously, knowing that the work comes first. Outside of that, I'm going to do everything I can to be as ready to go this year and be ready to compete. But that's really what I fall back on. At the end of the day, I truly believe that everything happens for a reason and everything works out exactly how it's supposed to, as long as, you put in the work to earn your spot or earn that opportunity. So for me, going into this year, just competing and going through this whole entire year with my injury, obviously, like you said, man, this, as you know, this is one of the probably, if not the toughest, probably the toughest year of my life, going through this season. And not even from a mental standpoint of, oh man, I got to go sit in these meetings. Like that's just a no brainer, like that's non-negotiable. Like this is what I love to do. But honestly, more from the standpoint of, man, like it's hard to watch guys out there, my teammates out there having fun and everything like that, especially when I had to be, up in the suite before I was walking and things like that. Like I just wanted to be a part of it. So I'd say that was the hardest thing. But like I said, I truly believe and fall back on controlling what I can control and just trusting in God and believing that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, the first year you came in, a little bit of a different situation than a lot of other guys who get drafted in the first round. It's like, all right, I go to a team, but I really know that I'm not supposed to be the starter. You had Jimmy there. And then last year you go into an off season where everybody's you're going to be the starting quarterback, right? You were the starting quarterback to start the season. What is the difference in the off season between like your rookie season, right? You also didn't know anything about what you're getting into. And then year two, like I'm going to be the starter. Like what is the difference in the off season between those two perspectives?
Yeah, going into my first year, it was kind of draft prep. Obviously didn't play the season, so did draft prep from, the beginning of October and kind of really didn't stop throwing throughout that whole season until, the following 2nd January. So I'd say the first thing for me was just learning the offense, learning as much as I can, getting the playbook right after the draft and just trying to give myself an opportunity to compete. I think OTAs and rookie minicamp for me, my rookie year were a huge wake-up call or whatever you want to call it, just like realizing the details and how much I have to learn. So really between, we call it 40 days away between OTAs and training camp, that's all I locked in on, just getting scripts. And for me, writing stuff down and practicing, making mistakes is the best way for me to learn. So getting as many scripts as I can and, going through the same stuff this offseason, just making sure I know it as well as I can, just to give myself an opportunity to compete going into training camp. And I felt like I put myself in, as good as a position as I could. Wasn't there my rookie year, didn't start, but, gained a ton from that experience and gained a ton, watching and learning from Jimmy that whole entire year. And then now going into, I guess, fast forward past offseason, for me, first things first was about getting healthy. I had like little stuff, the finger, and just my arm was honestly just dead from throwing that whole entire time. Like, going through, 2 fall camps, my last year of college, straight into draft prep. I probably threw 3 times a week for, maybe a week or 2 off in there, but 3 times a week from, October of 2020 to January 2022. So for me, it was just about taking that time off. And then when I do come back, just nailing down the little things, being as clean as I possibly can. And obviously felt like I was at a new place mentally. But this offseason, obviously after going through this season, I feel like, I'm taking that to a whole nother level and know a lot more what's going to be asked of me.
Yeah, and I don't want to like blow smoke, but I think so. Me having the opportunity to work with so many different quarterbacks, seeing like the way you prepare, and even like I was at your house. What was it, a playoff game you guys were getting ready to go to?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, so I was at your house the night before, and then just waking up and how detailed you were when you weren't playing, like you're injured, seeing all the notes you had about the things that you wanted to work on and prepare for the offseason. I think that's what, to me, that's what separates you from so many other guys that I see in the NFL is that attention to detail. You already have basically your whole offseason broken down. Like, I want to work on this, and this, and this is how we're going to do it. And having that attention to detail from somebody who's 22, I get so excited about your future, like where you're going. How do you stay in the moment? Like, because you're like almost a big picture guy. When you're thinking about all those things, how do you stay in the moment? Like, all right, this is where I'm at. I got to go lock in for today, because you've had a lot of long days, even talking to you all the time when you're on the training table, getting your ankle worked on. Like, how do you stay present in that moment?
It's been hard. There's days where it is really hard, especially, like you said, being on the training table so much this year. It was hard some days to stay locked in, kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, honestly, especially knowing, after my first surgery, getting to that point where I know I'm going to have a second surgery. I'd say that was probably the hardest stretch of just from a motivation physically standpoint. My mindset is obviously I want to get as ready as I possibly can and get my body, I was full lifting, lower body squats, everything like that. I just some little stuff from a balance and running and single leg standpoint that I just couldn't get past, the little checkpoints that I couldn't get past. I knew I was got to get the second surgery. That was the hardest. But I started working with one person specifically, kind of a mental health / mental clarity coach, I guess you could call him. And that was the biggest thing for me. I also journal a lot and really got really into it. Had kind of stopped during training camp and beginning of the season. And then after the injury, kind of realized that was something that helps me a lot. Just being able to write stuff down, being able to put stuff on paper, whether it's goals for the day. But yeah, that for me, that whole process or that whole stretch, I had to write down goals for the day, goals and tasks for the day, every single day. Like whatever my goal was, I needed my physical therapist, Mike Sola, to give me a goal, give me a challenge for the week, a challenge for the day, just let me know that I'm still progressing. For me, it was all about that. And going into this offseason is kind of the same thing. I got big picture on things I need to get better at, but, literally just came off the field right now. And for me, it's like throwing today, like just the little things I want to work on. I know I can't go out there and be like, okay, I want to fix this, and this, and this. It's kind of just kind of have a priority list. So today, just having that one thing that I'm focused on, that 1 or 2 things that I'm focused on and nailing it down, recording everything I possibly can and just kind of being obsessed with it.
Videos. It makes me really, really excited about all the progress. And I'm going to jump back a little bit. Going to go back to like high school, college-ish. When did you realize, right? Because I think this is a unique moment for a lot of different guys. When did you realize you were talented enough like to play in the NFL? And then when did it hit you like, oh shit, I'm about to be like a first round quarterback? When do you realize those different things?
for me, I'll go back a little bit to high school. High school was all about I wanted to play college football. And my parents were always realistic with me. They never pushed me one direction, but they just gave me every opportunity and were honestly just brutally honest with me. So I remember being in my sophomore year, middle of football season. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting at the table with my parents. I really don't even know if you've heard this story, but I'm my aunt and uncle are at the house, and I'm saying, and I told them, my aunt's kind of doesn't really know a whole lot about football and recruiting. And she said, "What's your goal?" And I want to play Division I football, Division I quarterback. And then she kind of looks at my mom like I just said something absolutely insane. And she's like, "Is that a realistic goal?" I almost never mind. But yeah, I took that very personally. But my parents were very brutally honest with me from that point, even before that point. I can't just say these things and not put in the work. I can't just go to practice just like everyone else and wake up and lift weights just like everyone else and expect different results regardless of talent. Because it catches up at you in the long run, and obviously at this level it really catches up at you. So that was first for college. Went to North Dakota State, loved it. Was there 2 years, and then spring I had just got my hip surgery in February after my second year. After my redshirt freshman year, full year started.